Right, hi then viewers. Today in the shop we've got my Fiat Fiorino again. Done some videos on this before. It's been a while, but we're not out on the front drive anymore. We are in fact in my shop. So, what's the problem today? Excuse my out of breathness, I've just been running up the garden. Yeah, today we are looking at replacing the liquid crystal screen at the bottom there on the dash. This one at the moment is now just backlit only. All the display is totally gone. It started out, it would disappear if I didn't drive the van for a while, and then it would come back, and then it wouldn't, and then it'd come back all broken up, and eventually it goes to a point where you get just a backlight and no liquid crystalness at all, if you like. So yeah, we're going to pull this out and swap it. I should have started the video from the beginning. I already have the cowling off. That is a actually, let's get this in order. To start with, you have to take the bottom, excuse the camera work again, filming towards the light's not going to be very good, bear with me. Got the bottom of the steering column off, the cowling off the bottom of the steering column. That was just a load of screws, which just didn't really need me to see me doing that. But what that allows you to do is come up from underneath with a couple of screws which are in the bottom of the cowling position. You see that hole there? Trying to get you back. This is not. It's not going to be a great video, this, I'm afraid. But the swapping of the display is what I want to show you. I'll pull this back a bit. Yeah, there's the cowling. Yeah, one screw at the top, and there was two screws down the bottom, which you have to get the bottom of the steering column off really to get good access on those. And then this thing here was a pain in the arse. It's like a boot which goes between the steering column and the display. It's got these metal clips each side, and you really have to pull this off to get them out. This side I actually broke the end off trying to pull on it. Not a problem because you won't see it when it's pushed back in again. It's my van. And then to get the gauges and the instrument cluster out, screw I've taken out there, screw still in there, so I'll take those next. Try and do this one-handed. Yeah, I can see why Leon has problems working and filming at the same time. Best UK channel, I think, is Bodgett and Leggett. I really do enjoy his stuff. Right, nice guy as well. So, yeah, I really do appreciate how hard it is working one hand now. I don't have my camera person with me today, so that's that. Then the display, it sits, you pull the top forward and lift it up, and it comes out of its mounting at the bottom. On the back there's just one connector, there's a red lock. The red lock comes, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. The red locking tab comes towards us. It should come towards us and release. I'm going to set the camera down a second and then pull it off. I'm going to need both hands, so bear with me. Right, that lock tab now has come forward. There's a little, I don't know if you can see it, you almost have to lift it away to be able to swing it across. There's a hook on the top of the, I'm not sure if that's coming out in the camera, little hook there, and the bottom of the red catches over that, so you need to push it that way and swing it round, and then as that comes forward it releases, and now the whole instrument cluster is out. So let me get this on the bench, and then from there I'll put you on tripod and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so bear with me. Right, we're back. I'm going to obviously try and keep my eye on you guys to make sure you can see a bit of glare. Right, to get the instrument cluster apart, if you flip her onto her back, use a stick on a bit of MDF so not to scratch it. You'll see there's 4 Phillips head screws which we need to remove next in the shop, but where's my screwdrivers? Bear with. I think they might actually be in the vehicle from taking the dash apart. Right, so let's get these out. This is actually quite a... It might be too big, that Phillips. I'm going to have to get a smaller one. Right, there we go. It's on the bench already. That's better. Yeah, these are probably a Phillips number 1. Just take the 4 screws. This comes apart really easy. The hardest part now is getting the needles off the tack, the speedo and fuel and temperature gauges. They're just a push fit onto the stepper motors, but you need the power of Grayskull to pull them off. I will use a pair of pliers and lever them. I'll show you that in a minute. I've already had this apart to see if it was just moisture ingress, but it wasn't. It needed a new display. So yeah, 4 screws, back comes off just like that. Round the edge now we got a couple of plastic clips. Actually, yeah, when you take those 4 screws out, the whole front comes off as well as the back. So you can see the, hopefully that's in shot, see the 4 stepper motors. I'm not sure, yeah, that's how it comes apart like so. I'm conscious here of not showing you what I'm actually looking at. Yeah, so there's the 4 steppers, and what you want to do before you take these off is, well, look at that. I didn't put that one back right when I put it back together. You want to push them all back down as far as they will go to their minimum positions and see where they lie, so that when you put them back in exactly the same place. Otherwise, like my fuel gauge, you will see, yeah, I went round the wrong way. Look, I'd obviously set it like that. Of course, the thing was totally the wrong way, and empty would be showing me it's still in above the reserve, so that would have been a problem for me. So just be aware of that. Make sure your gauges are facing the right way before you put the needles on. And I noticed on here, I don't know if it's coming out on the camera, but the gauges seem to be just slightly like the thickness of the gauge below the zeros. So that's how I'm going to try and put them back. These covers, these little black things, they're little covers, they just lift from the back towards the needle and they just lift off. Speedo and the tack's easier because they've got this little lever on them, but yeah, they just literally, like I just showed you, lift off. Now, the hard bit. I'm using these 45 or 135 degree pliers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lever them off. I want to put something on here to lever against, or just to protect this from being sort of scuffed or damaged. It is an old van, but I still want to, you know, protect it a little bit. Thinking perhaps this might cause some popping while we do this. So this, the next thing you're going to do is these pliers, because you won't believe how tight these are. They're going to want to pinch your fingers. I did this last time I pulled these off. They really are going to try it. But there you go, lever, off it comes. So onto the fuel gauge next. Make sure that is in the. Now I'll move it up. So again, pinch really tight and lever, and out they come. These are not quite as difficult this time for me because, like I say, I have had them off before. For you, this might be a bit more of a pain because the first time they were bloody tight. Yeah, that's coming off nice. And then lastly, temperature gauge, and we should be ready to go to the next stage. Yeah, that come out as well. So yeah, literally just gently lever them out. Obviously don't push down so hard you push the pliers through your instrument cluster because that would make for a bad day. Right, now we're ready to flip her on her back again and take this whole PCB off. There's 6 clips, 2 here, 2 here, 2 on the outsides. So you just pull them back, and while you gently lift the board, obviously don't wrench from one end only because you bend the board and risk breaking it. At the moment nothing's coming off. This is where you need 6 pairs of hands really. Yeah. That's where having a pet octopus would be handy. Right. Those two there and there. Actually, you don't need to do the bottom two. Look, the bottom two hold the whole display unit. So change that. It's just those 4. 2 sides, 2 tops. 2 on the bottom you don't need to remove because they're the ones that actually hold the display unit. So now we are actually at our prize, if you like. This is the screen we've got to remove. This one is a replacement. I got this off eBay. It's about £60 UK. Came straight from China. I expect whoever found these, the supplier for these, is making a killing. I expect this is probably a 10 quid item if you can find out who is supplying the flipping things, but you'll pay 60 to 100 quid over here for them off eBay. Right, so need to be a bit careful. Let's get the old one out first. I'm going to try and zoom you in there, so again bear with me. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show this. I need to get the camera down a bit more. Hopefully that's in focus. On the back, trying to keep it in frame as well, there's a black little clip, for want of a better word, that just lifts up here. You'll see it when you get yours apart. It just holds the ribbon cable. It's the lock for the ribbon cable. The ribbon cable will now pull out. So pull the little black lock upwards away from the PCB. Pull that back, and then the screen itself, it's got 2 little tabs here on the plastic, and the glass will come forward, and you can just literally just lift him straight out, and away he comes. Yeah, there's the shot. There's the ribbon cable. So that's, you know, that shouldn't be a problem getting that out of the box. Right, installation of the new one should be just the reverse. Shove it in, close the lock, and stick it all back together. It's literally that easy. Hardest thing oh my god, actually not dropping it on the floor. No, the hardest thing I found with this job was literally getting those needles off the instruments to start with. The first time I did that, they were really stiff. I was trying to pull them by hand originally before I found the bendy pliers were the way to go. It's got tape across the screen, that's nice. That's alright, it's got a clear on it for protection. Alright, what's that? You need to look at the original. It's on the back, that's white. Does that peel off? There's a couple of protective films I'm just pulling off. You can see it's made the liquid crystals go a bit funny. Hopefully that will sort itself out. I won't be too happy if it doesn't. This is what you get for buying crap off eBay, isn't it? Right, let's have a look. So hopefully you just push the cable back in as before and clip the screen in. It goes top in first and then the bottom. And she goes. Then you make sure your cable's in, so keep that black portion of the lock on that connector up. Make sure your cable goes in and then push the connector back down. You'll see it when you're doing it. It's not very difficult at all. But that is now back in. And I think what I'm going to do before we go any further is put this back in the van and check that it works. Otherwise, you know, there's no point buttoning all this up if this display is still shit. So let's do that next. Right, as you can see, I've put the display unit back in the van. That's a good sign already, as we've got a couple of zeros at the bottom where the time should be. So the display looks like she's on. You see it's all open at the moment, so be very careful if you do this. You could easily put metal on there and you'll short that out, so be very careful. I just want to do this just to check what I've done so far is going to work. Obviously have more confidence than I have with the Chinese stuff. Right, we've got a lot of light on there. Boot open, it's saying, front right. Turn the signals off. See all the LEDs are up. Door open, boot open. I'm not sure about that backlight, that looks ridiculous. I think I know what's happened. There's a white protective film I've not put in between the screen and the display, but the display is all working perfectly. 1st of January, 76,000 miles. Temperature gauge is not working because of the sensor on the van. So yeah, that looks like that display is going to be fine. Let's take the key out. You watch, and the backlight goes off in a minute. That explains why the backlights still work on these when the displays die, because they're actually just LEDs on the main PCB. Right, I'm going to disconnect the battery again and remove that from the van and look for that. There it is, look, on the bench. That's the missing piece of my jigsaw. So make sure you put your protective film in there. I'll go and get the battery disconnected, and I'll show you how to button this all back up. Right, got you back on the tripod. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to remove the whole display, I'm just going to unhook him from the bottom if I can get. And then you've got to put this piece of white plastic back in. This can only go in one way, by the way, I found out last time. You've got to mess around until you get it in right. I think it clips under there and there. Same as the display itself. And pull those clips out. And there she is, she's all clipped back in. Let's just check that out, make sure she is in properly. I don't want that falling out when I'm driving. Right, yeah, display's back in fine. Next job is drop the PCB assembly back into the instrument cluster. That should clip down onto those 2 on the sides, 2 on the top. Now we can flip her over and reattach all the needles. Like I said, on this, make sure they're in the down position, which I can't do at the moment because this is all back together and I can't reach them right. I'm going to take this out, so don't put this back in straight away. What you want to do is set the steppers. And refer to the instrument dial when you do this. If you grab hold of them, you'll feel they turn one way and then not the other. So make sure they set to 0. The fuel gauge is the backwards one. It goes the other way to the other gauges, which is the mistake I made last time. So make sure they're all wound counterclockwise as far as they will go, apart from the fuel gauge, which needs to go clockwise as far as it goes. You'll work that out once you start feeling them. They move really free one way and you'll hear it stop. That's coming out. That's now as far counterclockwise as it will go. Drop the display back in again. Now we can flip her over and reattach the needles. Like I say, being careful now not to move them when you do this, because you don't want to be pulling them all apart again. Speedo is a bit low, so I'm not going to put him home just yet. That's perfect. Once you're happy with the position, put your hand behind and squeeze it like so. I've got to get that in view. Show you that hand out of the way. So that you're pushing the back of the stepper motor with your finger and the gauge with the dial needle with your thumb. Otherwise you could risk pushing the steppers off these PCBs. I wouldn't, there's probably not a lot holding them in really. So just be a little bit careful you're not going full gorilla on these needles. Next is the fuel gauge. Again, I've got my hand behind holding it. Trying to get this set so it's empty. That's fine. Again, squeeze it home, being careful. Hand behind the temperature gauge now, got my fingers holding it as before. Temperature 0, so that should be about right. Squeezing it home. Lastly, the tack. Looking at the 0 marker on that. Squeeze it home, and as you can see, it's below the reading, so I need to pull him again and redo that one. You actually make the tack read wrong if that's not set right. Oops, this is where I am going to pinch my fingers. Oh my god. No, got it. Right, try that again. So once you've had these on and off a few times, you'll be more comfortable doing it. Get out Come on, tack. That's perfect. Squeeze him home. I say, make sure you keep the fingers on the steppers behind. Now we can replace these little covers. They just push back on and click in, as you hear. Put these back together. Like so. And now just check all your gauges are zeroing out before you start. Tack, look, is actually reading slightly high. Speedometer is probably, that's about right. Right, right, what am I doing next? It's funny, the picture in the monitor I'm looking at is backwards, so hopefully the picture we actually record is the right way. Right, next, put the instrument cluster back together. So I'll put the lens in first, that just drops in, nothing to worry about there. And then this back panel sandwiches the whole shooting match back together again. And it just drops in like so. And you replace the 4 Phillips 1 screws we took out at the beginning. I'm going to be doing a few more, hopefully that's in the shot, videos now. I've got the shop built. If this sort of stuff helps you out, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I've got a MGTF over there, which we're going to be doing a fair bit of work on, a bit of restoration. I've got a Mercedes SLK, an R170, which is rusty as hell, which I want to get in the shop soon and start work on. I've got a couple of videos coming up on Alfa Romeo Mito, it's my son's car, an electric window job to do on that. It's just literally, we just bought the car, a few jobs we knew about. Electric window is one, passenger seats not reclining forward, so you can't get in the back from the passenger side. So I need to investigate that. So you give it a good service. Any of this is your thing, stick around. Also, I've got to do the brakes on the van, and as you can see, I've got to take this apart because the stupid fuel gauge isn't in the right place. So okay, I'm going to switch you off and I'm going to reset that off camera because there's no point you watching me do that again. Bloody hell. Right, back in a sec. Bloody hell. Well, it's pretty crappy weather out there. It's February 2020 at the moment, as I record this. In the UK, crap winter, very, very wet. Lots of flooding throughout the country. Right. Hopefully you'll see, if I can get you zoomed out and get rid of the glare, the needles are all pointing where they should be. Bloody hell, that took some doing, didn't it? Right, let's get this back in the van. What I'm going to do now is just take you off the tripod, so bear with me again. So we're handheld now, so it's going to be shaky again, sorry about this, but I am on my own. So, I'm going to drop it back in. First thing we're looking at here is the connector with the red lock. That can shoving you out the way, sorry. I'm trying to look what I'm doing and film at the same time. So again, push the connector in and then the lock comes round and that's now locked in again. To put the instrument cluster in, I've got to drop the bottom into the holes first. There's a couple of feet on that. I'm not pointing to it, it's under here, which I lifted up. I'm trying to see where the camera's looking. Bear with me, sorry about this. But you'll see there's 2 rubber mounting feet on the bottom. They go in first, and then the top comes back, and we can put in the 2 Phillips screws. So I'll do that. Got those 2 screws in. Next is the instrument cowling. That drops in. I'm trying to see where I'm looking. Down in here, there's pins that go in there, in the middle, one on the right. They just push forward. And as you push her forward, you've got to pull her, make sure she comes under the instrument cluster itself. And it literally just should, I'm struggling to do this one-handed, should just push all back into place. I'll have to, have I got it? No, I think I've got it. Thought I was going to have to put you down again to do that. In fact, I might have to because I can't get this side in. And again, I can't keep you in frame while I'm doing this one-handed. Yeah, it also helps if this rubber, this boot assembly thing is out the way as well. That's better. That's got it. Yeah, what was holding me up there was the boot. So get that out of the way. Next, there's one fixing underneath, and then the two in the sides where you need this stuff out of the way. So I'm going to button those up off camera because I can't hold this camera and do this. Perhaps I'll put you on tripod. Hang on a sec. I've got you off the tripod again, sorry. Not going to work. I'll put the top screw back in, which you can't probably see. That's up in the top. Underneath now, I've got some light on the situation. I've got to put the screw in back there somewhere. Where are we? Trying to see it. It's funny, I can see it in my eyes. I can't see it on the video. Up in here, so there it is, into that hole there. There's one there, and then there's another one. Bloody hard to see. You need to be a contortionist to work on, can't you? You know that. Down in there somewhere. Down there. But you know, you've got to take them out. You'll notice where they are when you do that. So that's where I am at the moment. Got to get those two screws back in. I will video that when I've got them in. Right, I've got the screws in again. Sorry about the camera work. It is easier, I found, to come in through the top and get to it. It's funny because I can't actually get my head in to show you where we're working here. Right, there's the light on the screw. Unfortunately, it's not going to focus on it. There she is. There's the screw. You can get it in through the above the steering column. There's one this side, and one you're not going to be able to see probably on the other side too. So the next job is to pin this thing back in, this skirt arrangement. I'm going to drop the steering column. Well, I thought I was going to drop the steering column out of the way, but I'm not. Alright, these just push into holes, and once they're in position they just push forward and it's done. Simple as that. So nothing really out of the ordinary there. So that is just a boot to stop dirt and stuff ingressing into there. So now I need to button up the steering column. I pulled this plastic off just now to give myself more room. So I'll put this on and then I'll show you the screw positions on the steering column. Right, I've got the lower clamshell now on the steering column back on. It pops on. You have to give it a bit of welly in places to get that working. What I've noticed today is fucking how unfit I am. Sorry about the heavy breathing. Lack of exercise on my part, which I must do something about. I'm 50 now. Right, so these are the screws. They're all Allen key jobs. So I can the ones holding the instrument cluster were Torx. So I'll swap that out. Go with the Allen key bit now, and we'll start buttoning them up. So one in the side, a couple in the middle, two at the bottom. I think one on that side as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's obviously one or two that side. Yeah, two on the left. Right, so I should get those in, and we're basically then done. Right, we're back. So that's all buttoned up, got all those screws in, dead simple. Going again. As you can hear, fuel pump's running. Fuel pump, as you see, we are, yeah, door open, I know that. Display is now running again. So I think what I'll do while I'm here is go through the menu on this and set up the time and stuff. You see, January the 1st is probably not right, but yeah, that's not a bad job, to be honest. Yeah, that's all working, so that's really good. Yeah, the worst bit, like I said before, and I said again, is getting those needles off. A quick check, but yeah, they're alright, they're all displaying what they should be. She's got half a tank of gas on. Tack's a little high, if I'm honest. Don't think I'll worry about that though, to be honest. It's yeah, it settles when you take the key out, and it comes up a little bit when you put the key on. There's a little bit of parallax on the camera as well, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's close enough. Right, so yeah, if this helps you out, give me the thumbs up. It's a little bit awkward working, obviously horrendously awkward trying to film and work. If this helps you out, give us a thumbs up. Like I say, I'm going to have some more videos coming along. I've got to do the brakes on this. Disconnect the battery, something I should have said at the beginning, before you take all this apart. But yeah, no reason why you can't do this at home. The only tools you really need is a set of Torx and a set of Allen keys, really. Just using my socket set version of them. You know, if you've got a set like this, it's a quarter drive. Yeah, dead simple. Pull it out, change it out, just like I showed you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and stay cool. Bye then.